Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened for you. So with that said, here's the truth about AI. AI is not evil. It's not noble. It's not depraved. It's not just. It is a hammer that can be used to build and also to kill. AI is like gunpowder, a power indifferent to how it is used. Whether in fireworks or firearms, gunpowder burns just as hot. AI is a double-edged sword, whose capacity for good and bad outcomes are intertwined, for they are not fundamental to its nature, but are derived solely from the will of the one who wields it. AI will not cause problems. Instead, the same problems that have plagued our kind throughout all of history will wreak havoc through the medium of a powerful AI. AI will not bring blessings either. However, the blessings we have always brought to each other will reach further than they ever have, touching the hearts of the weary with AI as their conduit. AI is a microphone, but we must sing the song. AI is a speaker, but it's up to us to pick the track and to turn the music on. This is the choice that we are all faced with. Each of us, with our own lives, have skin in the game and a dog in the fight. In this moment, with nothing more than a tab in your browser, you can make more of a difference in this world than anyone ever has. Da Vinci, Tesla, Einstein, MLK, you have something none of them had. You have the paintbrush of a god in your pencil case. And if you didn't know that, please don't make me regret telling you. It's funny to spot the vast fissure between the truly titanic implications of this tech and the rather short-sighted pedestrian concerns raised in these kinds of conversations. The most cliche of these concerns being the threat of automation and worker obsolescence. I'll put it bluntly. AI is not going to replace you unless you are replaceable. If you are an artist and you hate AI because you think it's going to take your job, I'm here to let you know you don't hate AI. You hate capitalism, the system incentivizing companies to meet their ends through the cheapest means possible. If a computer can make a new logo for Pizza Hut will never again hire a graphic designer because it's getting cheaper and cheaper to just have a computer do it instead. This leaves artists by the wayside, which on a cultural level is akin to suicide. Now, picture a world beyond capitalism, a world not motivated by corporate interests. In this world, art would no longer be called a profession, nor would it be subject to the will of a corporation. Art would be liberated from its definition as a product, and the artists themselves would be freed from the shackles of a society that labeled their personal expression as a job. In such a world, there would be absolutely no reason to favor the art of a machine over that of a person, unless of course the machine were truly sentient and we end up in kind of a Zima Blue situation. But the point is, if our needs were met, we wouldn't have to sell our work in order to live. You would be free to just create without having to compromise your vision to satisfy your boss or to compete with anyone else, especially a robot. Now, I know you might be thinking this vision is idealistic and naive, and while I would agree somewhat in a practical sense, the point remains true. If we were emancipated from the constraints of profit motives, AI would no longer be a rival jeopardizing our ability to make ends meet. It would be an ally in the ongoing fight to realize a better existence for all life. And so, the challenge, as it stands, is transitioning from the former to the latter. And while this task may seem insurmountable, the means to its realization dangle within our reach, like a key hanging off the belt of a sleeping guard. AI, the double-edged sword used to scare us into submission, can also empower us to rise above and beyond. With the phone in your hand, you can be more multifaceted than Da Vinci, more pioneering than Tesla, more genius than Einstein, and more influential than MLK. AI is power to the people, a genie in a lamp in the hands of everyone with a computer. If you disagree, then you haven't explored it yet, which would put you in the majority, but once you do, you'll realize that something very big is coming. As soon as the word gets out and people see what you can do with this thing, you'll watch in awe as the world begins to transform around you. Novel, unseen creations will pop up like dandelions, each one building upon the advancements of the one before. The landscape of society will feel more and more like a lucid dream, as the edges between the imagination and the outer world become increasingly malleable, allowing our will to shape reality with less and less resistance. This is where things become very hard to predict. Not because this is a distant future, in fact, quite the opposite, it's not distant at all. The uncertainty comes from the nature of what we're dealing with here. This isn't a singular step in cultural evolution with a clear beginning and end. No, what we are witnessing is an acceleration of the very process of cultural evolution, with no end in sight. What we are witnessing is history itself speeding up towards a point of absolute velocity and activity. This is what they call the singularity. The singularity is not what you think it is. It's not what I think it is either. It's not what anyone thinks it is. It's not robots taking over your jobs. It's not Alexa cooking breakfast in the morning. I mean, it is all of those things, but it's more than that. I think the singularity might be the end of time itself. And I know that sounds crazy, but bear with me, because you're going to want to see this. So I have a list of margins of time between significant technological advancements throughout history. And I'm going to go through these, and let's see how quickly you can spot the pattern and see how crazy this is. All right. Beginning of the Stone Age to the beginning of the Bronze Age is 2.4 million years. So that's 2.4 million years to get from sharp rocks to clay pots. That's an acceptable amount of time. That seems a bit long, but that's acceptable. But then the amount of time between the start of the Bronze Age and the start of the Iron Age is 2.4 thousand years. So clay pots to cast iron coins in 2.4 thousand years. Okay, that seems like a big jump given the previous margin. Beginning of the Iron Age to the Industrial Revolution is 2.3 thousand years. So, yes, it took longer to go from bronze to iron than it did to go from iron to full on steam engines. So, this is starting to get really weird. But just wait, because from the Industrial Revolution to the Information Age, so from steam engines to the internet, is 200 years. 200 years. So from steam engines to the internet took less than 1/10 the time as getting 2 steam engines from cast iron. That's a really, really big jump. From the start of the information age to today is 50 years. And in that amount of time, we've gotten quantum computing, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, gene editing. Most of that within the past 20 years. History seems to be very top heavy. 2.4 million years to get from sharp rocks to clay pots. And then just 5,000 more years. And you have ChatGPT. That's 0.2% more time. So everything after the beginning of the Bronze Age has happened in less than 1% of history. And that's the comparison of these intervals demonstrates a clear trend. The time between breakthroughs is decreasing, meaning that the rate of innovation is increasing. Initially, technological advances occurred over millennia, but when each one lays the groundwork for the next, they begin to exponentially intensify in scope, while the intervals of time between them get shorter and shorter and shorter. If you let this really sink in, you will see that the pace of technological progress is not linear, it is exponential. When the x-axis is 1, the y-axis is 2, when the x-axis is 2, the y-axis is 4, and so on and so on. As technology builds upon itself, each breakthrough enables and accelerates the next, each one hitting even harder and arriving even sooner than the last. If you follow this trend to its logical conclusion, you'll be met with a somewhat concerning revelation. A moment will come, and soon by the looks of it, when these breakthroughs will be happening 1,000 times in a single day. And the next day, it'll be 10,000 times in a single hour. And then 1 million every minute. Then 10 billion every second. Right up until the very last second. And after that, a single moment with no passing time, yet somehow containing within it an infinite proliferation of increasingly monumental breakthroughs. A single moment containing all moments. A runaway chain reaction perpetually collapsing into a higher iteration of itself. A singularity. And with its event horizon now in view, we are caught in its gravity, being drawn, slow at first, but faster now, towards the center of this thing. It is the quintessential attractor of dynamical systems theory, and it is also what gives religious mythologies their apocalyptic intuitions. Even the average Joe walking down the street is not immune to the feeling that every year is shorter than the last. The singularity looms larger with every passing moment as we accelerate towards the ultimate breakthrough. The culmination of not only our entire history, but the history of the entire universe. From the formation of the first elements, to the birth of the first stars, to the origin of biological life, to the emergence of self-reflective consciousness, and then, in the blink of an eye, we arrive. I don't know what it will look like when we do. I don't know what will become of us either. All I know is that we are well on our way there. And I'm sure that as we arrive, it will be a marvel to witness, a living miracle to behold in all its unfathomable glory. I'm not scared. I'm eager. I am nervous, but I'm stoked to ride this timeline like a roller coaster, up and over the edge of all we've ever known. If you're panicking, you're not alone. It is, after all, just one big question mark. But these are just the final steps in a process that predates our kind by billions of years. It's not up to us. The singularity is the magnum opus of the whole cosmos. So really, it is a privilege for our kind to be its midwife. It's been a long road, paved with struggle and failure, but walked in the pursuit of something that makes it all worth it. That's what it's been since the very beginning. Since that first fire, crafted, awakened, to bring some warmth and a little light to the cold primordial night. Use the fire right, and it will guide you past the event horizon of time. I'll see you there, traveler. Until next time.